Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and I call to order the Seward County City of Kismet Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. I would like to request to make an amendment to the agenda to add item 4B, Economic Development Director Eli Swati. Do I have a recommendation to approve the agenda with the amendment?
So moved. Second.
Got a first by Jeff Latterback, a second by Devin. Any further discussion? All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Item number 3, approval of the minutes of July 13th, 2026. I don't have any issues with them. I would like to make a recommendation to approve the minutes. Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion so stated.
All right, motion by Devin, second by Kelly. Any further discussion? All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Item number 4A, Administrator's Report.
The administrator is ill, and to my knowledge, he had nothing to report.
Okay. Item 4B, Economics Development by Eli Swati.
Good evening. So Commissioner Vasquez asked me to come in and talk a little bit tonight about just planning and zoning and regulations. But before I begin, I had some thoughts and some words I wanted to speak, and I just came from a different meeting with Southern Pioneer, and so I wanted to start with that. Out of curiosity, did anybody even know there was a Southern Pioneer rate meeting and large load meeting going on tonight?
No.
I was like, okay, because like in the room, there were maybe 3 of us that weren't Southern Pioneer employees, and it was myself, and then Steve Mers was there, and I was like, okay, Steve. Well, Steve's on a committee for them, so I was shocked by that because it was fascinating information. And 2 things I want to share to kind of kick this off. The first of which is Southern Pioneer bought the Aquila area or transmission and generation in 2006. Since then, there's been 0 load increase on that service territory, which I know that falls on economic development, but I thought that was fascinating. Second is that Southern Pioneer was always treated differently because of the way that it was structured. And part of that meant that they were regulated by the Kansas Corporation Commission on the state level. So anytime they wanted to incentivize a company and say, hey, look, we can do these rates, it had to go to the state legislature and the KCC, and took 8 months to do that. You can imagine what that did for projects when a company said, well, look, if we go to Southern Pioneer, we have to wait 8 months to figure out what they want to do, or we can go to this Evergy project and we can have a rate immediately. That was changed this last spring with the Kansas legislature. Senate bill changed that, so now they are self-regulated. So that massive burden, which also was an increase in cost to us, is now gone. We no longer have to put in an 8-month delay to talk about rates and to talk about what that can do. But I say all of that because Commissioner Vasquez asked me to come and just talk about, regulation. We are living in a very regulation-heavy time, as you guys know. Tempers are up. Personalities are large in rooms talking about planning and zoning. But I want you to recognize economic development in rural Kansas, as you can imagine, it is hard. If you don't have companies that are willing to invest in an area like this and come in and say, look, we want to build here because we value these communities, we value these regions, we're all going to have a much darker future. We need companies that are willing to do that. However, the companies that we're trying to attract right now have even higher standards. I'm working with a company right now. They would fit here perfectly. They deal with value-added agriculture. They would be buying products from our meat processing plant. They would be adding more to that. Their corporate structure is concerned about flying to rural southwest Kansas. They would rather build their factory in Kansas City, truck the meat all the way there so that their corporate doesn't have to fly down to a place like this. That's hard to deal with in economic development. And again, I tell you this because we have to limit how we hog tie ourselves. We cannot put ourselves in a position where we make it harder to do business in Seward County, where we make it harder to do business in Liberal. So I say all of this just to ask that as you consider your roles in planning and zoning, you have a very important job to do. You have to protect the landowners. You have to protect your property owners. But you also have to protect the business owners and the property owners that want to do business on their own land. So as you're looking at your regulations, as you're looking at what we have in place, keep in mind that we have to have a good balance between everything, between what protects what's already here, but also what can be good for everybody moving forward. As I said, we haven't had load growth in 20 years. The only way we reduce costs for everybody is by increasing that load growth. And if we come in with regulations that don't necessarily improve the operation for anyone involved, then all that's going to do is make it harder to do business, because businesses and corporations need to know the stability of the future. If you have regulations in place, which we do, which are good regulations, they can see this is the timeline, this is the path, this is how we move forward. If we change that too much or make that too much of a burden for them, we run the risk of pushing away even more. And so it's a challenge that we face in economic development. And on his request, I wanted to just come and at least talk to you about some of the other challenges that are existing in economic development, so you know, like, if we can avoid putting hurdles in place that don't need to be there, it's going to give us at least a fighting chance on some of those other companies. I know that was a surprise and an addition to the agenda. I have a quick handout if you want additional information. You can just read through on your own time.
Well, I'm not sure if they had any questions for you. I don't know if you're open to
Sure.
different questions. Does anybody have questions for him and some of the stuff that he's
Right.
dealing with economic development?
Well, I know like recently what we've been discussing with the recent, companies trying to come to their county. What sort of other projections are you thinking that would probably come that, we can make our regulations, I guess, a lot more inviting for them to come?
So not even necessarily changing those, but there are things you can do as a planning commission to say, all right, if we have a landowner that has a particular piece of property that he wants to develop, whether that's for an industrial site, for manufacturing, for a large load, what we're seeing now is there are other counties out there that are doing what are called energy overlays, and essentially setting aside that particular piece of property that says, we're going to go through the due diligence. We're going to talk to the landowners ahead of time. We're going to make sure that everyone around there recognizes that, hey, we are approving conditionally what could go on this particular piece of property. You would still do all of the same due diligence down the road. You would just, as a planning board, do some work ahead of time to say, we would welcome you in Seward County, but we're going to welcome you in Seward County on predetermined pieces of property. That way, you have a little bit more control, landowners have more control, and you have a way to say, yes, we want this type of industrial growth here, but we also want to do it in a place that we know that the landowners are interested in that, and we can avoid some of those other issues that come up when that's not always the case. So that's an example. Emporia has put in something similar to that recently, where they're doing an overlay district like that, and you can say within that overlay district, we are interested in these types of industries to come into this particular spot. And again, that doesn't change the conditional use process that you already have in place. It just gives you a little bit more due diligence ahead of time so that the landowners know what to expect, businesses know what to expect, and you guys can have more time to prepare for potential projects.
What do you find is the top two reasons that industry or businesses don't come to this county?
I wish I had an answer to that, because if I knew, I could fix it somehow. I would say number one is geography. It's remote. And if a company doesn't have to be here, what I'm finding is that they're choosing. It's one thing to say, well, we need to be here because this is where our source material is. It's harder to convince them to come here otherwise. And then the second thing that we're finding, and I tell you that story about the corporate travel, there are some companies that don't even think Wichita qualifies, where their corporate says, well, we don't want to live there because Wichita's not big enough for us. And so we're facing that. And that might be my own fault where, I'm trying to get companies that don't match our MO, right? But at the same time, we need any sort of growth. And so any sort of idea to get us here. So the two things really is geography would be number one, and then that corporate life and corporate travel. We do, I say that there are examples. When I started this job, I talked to High Plains Ponderosa Dairy, and I said, what are you guys doing? Why are you 5 feet into Meade County? And they said, well, it's easier to do business in Meade County. That being said, I don't think we should be unzoned. We need zoning in Seward County. But the primary driver for them was that process was significantly easier in Meade County than it was it would have been in Seward County.
Eli, one thing that you said that I really appreciate is trying to find a balance, right, in between regulation and I forget how you said it exactly, but trying to find that balance in between regulation and then getting this economic growth and everything like that, because it is important to maintain everybody's safety in mind, but then also not be so restrictive to where
nobody wants the Wild West.
No,
we don't want, you can go build anything, you can go do it. Nobody wants to say, I invested in this and now somebody right next to me is going to. So you need some sort of regulation, but yeah, keeping in mind the opinion of this property owner and this property owner on the same level.
Yeah. So, anybody else have anything else for Eli?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 5, public hearing for 2026-1. All right, so it is 7:12 p.m. and I now call to agenda item number 5, which is a public hearing on case number CU 2026-1. This is a conditional use permit request to construct 4 180-foot by 400-foot or 72,000 square foot hook buildings, a bale storage pad, and a scale house. The proposed project is located on property legally described as Section 10, Township 34, Range 32, Southwest 4, less right of way. Seward County, Kansas, filed by Arcalin Ethanol LLC. We would like to welcome everyone interested in this hearing. Before we proceed with this hearing, I'll ask the planning board members if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from the hearing, discussion, and vote on this case because they or their spouses own property in the area of notification or have conflicts of interest or a particular bias on this matter. Does anybody would like to qualify? All right. That being said, according to our bylaws, those members who only abstain from voting are still part of the quorum. I now declare that we have a quorum of 5 present to the hearing. According to the recording secretary, a notice for this hearing was published in the High Plains Daily Leader on July 16, 2026, and notices were mailed to the landowners in the area of notification as required. Unless there is evidence to the contrary from anyone present, I'll declare that proper notification has been given. I will now ask the planning board members if any of them have received any ex parte, verbal, or written communications prior to this hearing which they would like to share with all parties at this time. As you know, it is not necessary to disclose the names of the parties, but to share important information. Would anybody like to declare any ex parte communications? I now call on our zoning administrator to provide us with a brief factual background report on this case.
The Planning and Zoning Department was contacted by personnel from the Arcalin Ethanol LLC regarding the development of a grain storage facility to supplement their processing plant. The department informed them that this would take a conditional use in accordance with our zoning regulations. We supplied them with the information for application and what needed to be included in the application. You now have that application in front of you for your consideration.
Appreciate that. Anybody have any questions to the administrator? That's fine. All right. I now call upon the applicant to come to the podium and make his or her presentation on the request and in response to the zoning administrator's report.
Appreciate you guys taking consideration of this. I'm Tom Willis, somewhat related to the ethanol plants out there. I also have an attendance here, 2 board members and our plant manager out there. Real briefly, what we're trying to do here is increase storage for our plant. 2 or 3 of these things are driving it. I'm going to take a second here to champion our company. We are, as Conestoga, and specifically our Kalen, there's only one other plant in the United States that can do what we do in terms of low carbon. And we're leveraging that to bring value back in terms of our producers, our farmers, grain that they buy, the ethanol that we ship overseas. For those of you who don't know it, we go to Canada, we go to England, we go to the Eastern Europe or Central Europe and South America with our product, as well as the country of California. So we're pretty proud of what we've done there. Why this is important to us is 2 or 3 reasons. Our goal, because traceability, believe it or not, is extremely important. Most of the countries that we ship to want to be able to track the bushels that go into that ethanol back to the farm, believe it or not. They don't ask that for food. Yeah, that's true. California, for instance, starting in September, any ethanol that's shipped out there, you've got to be able to provide certificates that says it came from these farmers. Why is that important for our project today? The ability to be able to have additional storage so that we can go and expand our draw area for our producers to bring is vital to be able to tap into this market. The other thing that we'll be using this site for is to store our stover bales for our Sapphire cellulosic fuel project that we're starting to work on over the next year and a half. So our plans are to start with 2 million bushel. Why I think it's good for the community, I just told you. It allows us to do that. But a couple of other things, and I'm going to look at Mr. Lauterbach here. You know, there's no doubt that when we're rocking and rolling, Jeff, there's a little bit of dust that gets this way. By being able to bifurcate that and send some trucks south, send some trucks north, trucks come in, we reduce the overall congestion on going both south and north. We reduce dust. This project will be inside as a hoop barn, so everything is contained, so it's within our air operating permit that we have. So when we look at it, we feel like we want to be good neighbors. We think we will be. We don't see any issues with dust. We don't see any issues with traffic, other than I think it reduces it because it's spread out over 2 locations with that. So that in a night, I captured everything, Richard? Yep. So future plans, we're not asking for today. Future plans will be to expand to where we have about 6 million bushels of storage down there. And our goal, again, is to be able to extend our dry area to the east, out past Meade, maybe even into Dodge, to Ford County, and be able to pull bushels that way. But certainly have a place for all of our local farmers that have supported us, that continue to support us. Those that haven't, we want to make it easier and friendly so that they can. There's going to be a lot of value coming back to the producer because our ability to be able to produce low carbon. And this helps us get that to the farmer. So I'm happy to answer any questions. That's just a broad overview of it, but we appreciate your consideration and we appreciate the support you've given us in the past. And we appreciate the support that we know you're going to give us going forward.
Appreciate your presentation. Anybody have questions for him?
Why you look at me? I've got a few, Tom.
Yeah.
How far from the southwest corner will that development start? Do you have a close idea?
Come up here with me. I came prepared, Jeff, but that was one damn question. I'm not sure I pondered at night, so I don't know.
I think we're going to be about 30 to 40 yards from that southwest corner. There's our gas main in that southwest corner, and there's a little bit of a hilly knoll there. And so to get the entrance into the staging area, we had to move things a little bit north. There's also some telephone poles and a lot of utilities in that area.
Well, what I'm looking at is, as far as your storage for your hay bales, how far will it be?
I got it right here for you, bud.
Yep.
I guess what I'm getting at is the distance from that nearest house to the haystack.
The hay bale storage area is I mean I'm going to say it's going to be at least about 100 yards from that corner. And basically it's a large area. We're looking at starting from the east and moving to the west, but to give us area to get trucks in, to turn around, load and unload, we've got a larger area than what is actually, or the area is larger for that, is for trucks to get in and out.
A little more cumbersome to unload.
Right. On your east property line, will there still be access for the landowner to the north of you? Because that's the only access he has right now. There's 19 acres there that belong to Reimers.
Yes, he'll still have access.
Okay. How will you determine which trucks go which way?
A lot of that is going to be who we are buying grain from at the time and what is their harvest date. Some may be harvesting earlier or later, and basically we will direct the traffic to whichever side.
So you're trying to put a special variety in certain
No.
places?
Let me back up here. Let me join.
Yep.
Everything he says, correct. One more. Why the ability to be different countries that we ship ethanol to want different blends of product in terms of milo and corn. You go to France, you go to the Netherlands, which we sell a lot of product into. They consider sorghum to be a tertiary crop, especially if it's grown behind wheat or triticale. And they want their blends of ethanol to be as high in sorghum as we can get it. Conversely, if you go to Canada, they don't want any sorghum in it. So in addition to what he's saying in terms of trying to balance our ground piles and things that we want, and we've actually, I don't know if the guys worked with you on it, but AI, to be able to predict and say, these are the next 6 trains that are going for export. It's going there, it's going there, it's going there. So we optimize our blend. So to answer your question, Jeff, is depending on where it's partially considering on where that product is going, the end product will dictate what our blends are, will dictate what some of those trucks are. But at the end of the day, it's like he says, who's harvesting what they got.
Okay. This barn, I'm assuming it's going to have dryer fans in it.
Have what?
Dryer fans.
Yes, there'll be floor fans or fans in the floor for aeration.
And what is the approximate distance from that to the corner? Any idea?
From that to the corner, yeah.
It's past the pivot.
Yes.
Okay. As far as road work, what does the county say about an entryway? I know they've been trying to cut out field entrances, so have they said anything about it?
As far as our entrances?
Yes.
No. I haven't heard anything from the county on the entrances.
You mentioned the rock.
We're going to build the 2 entrances onto the property, and that'll be part of the dirt work that we do and things. But the county has not. I haven't heard anything from the road and bridge, and Albert didn't say anything from the road and bridge about that.
I thought the road and bridge was supposed to be here tonight. I think he was asked to be here, right?
We asked Road and Bridge. Road and Bridge said they are trying to determine what they would like to see for road maintenance. That's under consideration right now. The Assistant County Administrator and Road and Bridge in discussion about maintaining that portion of the road and the entrances, and they will be in contact with.
Certainly, whatever their wishes are, we'll do. And I think, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, conversations you've had about bringing in Oklahoma Road.
Yeah,
gravel.
I've addressed it that we would, at our discretion, do some, put some Oklahoma Road gravel and things down on Road P before harvest to get the road ready and things like that.
And at this point in time, Road and Bridge is looking at that.
Yeah.
Plus, they just did permaseal that road too, so that's in consideration for what they're going to propose that they would like to see for road maintenance to maintain that road, and then that's what they would discuss with you, and then propose to the county commissioners when it goes for their consideration.
So
Well,
you're
I guess I'd
to
leave-
maintain, right?
I'm
You're
willing
maintain
to.
the
I'm
road?
willing to help in the maintenance of Road P for that.
And that is in
purpose.
their developers agreement.
Yes.
They have mentioned that yes, they will. That's in their
I state
development.
what I started when I stood up here. We want to be good stewards. We understand this.
What will you do with all the 100 trucks that are sitting out there early in the morning? Will there be access in and access?
There'll be a staging area for the trucks. We typically open between 7:30 and 8 o'clock for trucks to come in or to start bringing the trucks in. So we'll have a staging area there that we can stage about 50 trucks for the morning. If there is that many already staged, typically trucks start showing up somewhere after 6:30, 7 o'clock because they're going to start getting in line to get unloaded. And we'll have an area for them to go there. It'll be past the scale area. You'll see on the map there's a small area that says
Mine was kind of fuzzy. I couldn't tell where that was at.
The other thing I would point out too, because I know everybody's used to the long lines that we have out there in past harvest, we've got to cut that in half because we'll be routing some of that south and north. So from a staging perspective, it should cut down on the congestion.
Could I point out one more thing too? As part of the road agreement and all that stuff like that, that would be one of your conditions for approval, that a mutual agreement for road maintenance.
Mhm.
That would be a condition you would put on your.
Yeah, it says here that they will have 6 inches of crushed concrete base with a 4-inch crushed asphalt top layer.
And at this point, Road and Bridge is looking at that because, like I said, they just did put that permaseal down, I believe, on that road. So they are taking in consideration what would be the best way for
Yeah.
maintenance. And they have proposed, yes. That would be one of your conditions upon, recommendation,
Right.
that a mutual agreement be made for
Do we
maintaining
have
the
an
road.
in scale and an out scale, or we
Yes.
just have one,
no, there'll be two.
two? Okay.
So the truck will come in, scale in, he'll unload, scale out, and then head out.
So there won't be any more cross traffic.
Correct. And if you look at SD 101, it shows where it says gravel road. That is actually the staging area. I guess when Stoffel drew this up, they just put it as gravel road. But that's the area that we plan to stage trucks in.
Okay.
The base for your hay stack, will it also be that crushed rock stuff?
It will be it will be fly ash, a tilled in fly ash with some water, and then a hard pack on it.
And then that hay will be hauled across the road for processing.
Yes.
How many bales do you plan to store?
Right now, we plan to store about 200 bales on that site this year in this year's harvest. The plant will consume about 5 bales a day
Yeah,
running.
correct.
So we could see somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 bales potentially, but I don't, it's a pilot plant. It's not going to run 24/7.
No.
We'll be changing up different things. What we're looking at is can we, when can we harvest? How many bales do we have to harvest? And what is our plan on, the operation of the pilot plant? But we could see 1,000 to 2,000 bales stored there.
So it's just the way it's written. They're not going to be broken down there. It just says bale lay down storage. So
Yeah, it'll be the 4x4 by 8 foot
be
bales.
stacked there.
Yes, they'll be stacked.
It's just
And
proportion of size compared to the hoop barns is confusing.
and that's some of to get trucks in and out and to be able to turn, unload, and also, as we build the stacks, we're going to put space in between the stacks. We aren't just going to have one big long stack.
Yeah.
So there'll be spacing in between the stacks for air, those kind of things.
It would be a problem if they were to spontaneously catch fire or something.
Well, yeah, it'd be a problem, but it's not going
But lightning or something,
Yeah.
like what we had earlier this spring.
Right now we have some bales in storage. We've been doing some storage tests and things, and we've gotten probes from a company over in Europe, and we actually have probes in our bales, and we're actually reading temperatures in our bales and can see if we're seeing hot spots. Typically, depending, right now what we see is any bales that aren't tarped that get moisture, we see them heat up. But the bales that are tarped and things like that, we don't see as much issue with heat and things. We haven't gotten up to the point where we've had to rip any stacks down because they've gotten too hot.
So you're still in the testing, but are you leaning one way on how you'll store them? Will you tarp them or not?
Yes, we will tarp them. Yeah, we will tarp them. We're going through several different ways to tarp. Is it three wide, 5 wide, those kind of things, trying to figure out what is the best way to tarp. And also we're looking at just, how easy it is to stack those bales.
This sounds like a really silly question, but when I'm sitting out there in the semi, there is dust everywhere. Could you guys invest in maybe a tanker water truck to just wet down some things around the facility? Just,
Yeah. If it
when
gets
when we take corn to the feedlot, they're running that thing all the time.
Mhm.
But
You're talking about Road P?
I'm talking about the whole facility. I'm talking about just when we're sitting out there in those trucks, it's just rolling. I mean, when we get 1,000
Staging area.
1,000 trucks just stacked in there, it's hot, and we're blowing radiators out every day. But if you guys could maybe, I mean, it sounds really petty, but just have a water tanker that you could ride through just where you're dumping that grain.
I'm sure we could look at that.
Okay.
You could look at that or look at oil, putting some type of surfactant down on it or something.
It just take water once a day.
We also right now we are redoing the couple of the portions in between the piles. We're going in with we're bringing in some dirt. We're raising them up. We're also going to do the fly ash treatment on them and hard pack them and try to get a better base, something that is not as just as powdery and things. So we are doing some work there to try to get a better base so it isn't as dusty.
Well, we're carrying a lot of pounds, so it's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just you guys; it's us too. So.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of the hoop barn, you have loadout tanks. Is there 4?
There's two loadout tanks. They're
Two.
5,000 bushel, and basically when we take the grain out of the building, it'll get lifted into those overhead bins, and then a truck will come underneath and load.
No. If I understand it correctly, maybe I don't. It seems like you could unload the barn faster than you could load it, because there's only one. Forget what it's called. One pit.
There's one pit, but the elevator leg is doing 15,000 bushels an hour. So when we come out of the hoop barn, we are still limited by the belt conveyor coming out and servicing those overhead bins.
Yeah.
So it's set up that basically we can keep pulling the corn out of the bin at a good rate, not that we're gonna have 100 trucks a minute. it's going to be about 10 trucks a minute, or no, not 10 trucks, about 10 trucks an hour that will come out of the overhead bins when we unload.
Well, the other thing to go with that too, Richard, is it's more important to have fast unloading than it is loading,
Yeah.
because we can do that on our leisure and we can plan. So
Yeah.
they don't have to be perfectly matched.
Yeah. So I guess I was trying to compare to your current grain bin storage, how fast that pit was compared to these.
The current grain bin storage, the legs there are 30,000 bushel an hour each. And this will be 20,000 bushel or 15,000 bushel. So it'll be half the size.
Yeah.
So in total, we have what, 20, and or 30, and 40?
30 and
15.
15. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it's in here somewhere. What's the total height of that building?
That
73?
is
73?
73 foot, yes. $78 9 and 11/16.
Is it taller than your one in Garden City?
Is it what?
We don't own the one in Garden City.
It's just something to compare to.
I would say they'd probably look similar, but
yes.
we don't own that one, so I can't tell you.
The other concern I have is going to have trucks going north and south. The 4 lanes KDOT designed them to have semi slowdown on, heading north. So the lane turning south is shorter than the one going north. Correct. If you're
When the trucks are headed eastbound or westbound, you're saying?
correct.
Westbound, they just got a left-hand turn right there. So
I don't know. I don't know. I would have to look at that as far as that. I am talking to KDOT about getting a turn lane off of 54 onto Road P on any trucks heading east, and also a lane there for them to come out onto Road P and acceleration. So I am talking with KDOT right now.
Okay. I was curious about that, and I didn't know if we would have a receipt of that later. Kind of more, if you're gonna expand to the south, we'd need more development on that road there, with same or more traffic.
Yeah, yeah.
but first we got to get it past you.
Yeah.
I can't go to KDOT if I don't know I got a project.
Yeah, KDOT would have to do an engineering study, traffic study, and things like that, and then come back to us.
No, I just, when would you plan to start? Would this be functional in 27 or 28?
Basically, we are going to start. We want to start construction yet this fall here shortly. I do have equipment showing up and things like that, so we're ready to start dirt work as soon as we can and get moving on it. I don't see that this building will be ready for this fall's harvest. It'll probably be, construction will be completed late December, somewhere in that time frame. So yes, it'd be available in 2027. We could probably be testing it out in January, make sure all the equipment is working and everything is functioning as designed, and putting some grain in there. But as far as a harvest, it won't be ready for this year's harvest.
Okay. I just, as KDOT takes their inspection of traffic and whatnot increased, but that wouldn't happen until
Well,
it's
I'm going to look
operational.
intuitively and anecdotally with it that yes, there will be a little bit of an increase, but really what we're doing is taking everything that's going north and splitting it up going south. So overall traffic, as we expand our draw area, which we have to do, yes, but in terms of a huge volume, I would say it's actually more, it's better because you've got all that traffic going north and you're splitting it up.
you know, I guess maybe I'll just have to add a condition of some more signage, trucks turning both ways.
What's that?
Traffic heading west, that they'll be turning north and south. So I'm just concerned with when they're turning both ways that passenger cars behind the semis may be confused until there's actual turn lanes are bigger.
Well, that's what I was.
And
I know.
like I say, we really won't be using this for the
Yeah.
heavy traffic this fall. It'll
Yeah,
be next.
I know.
It'll be next
It'll
fall.
be next year.
And by that time, we should have the turn lanes in and the acceleration lane that we want on the eastbound side of Highway 54. We should have those in by that time.
No.
We
But
got to work with
I
KDOT on it.
You're not decreasing your ground piles currently, are you? You're trying to add storage.
Oh, I would look at it and say it's rat storage. There's no question about it. But because we have two spots, I could see that we don't put quite as much on the north side. And that depends on the commodity, depends on what our export program is on ethanol and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes with that.
Yeah.
The location of it is actually what I kind of like. With our predominantly southwest wind, it's not going to bother nobody. During harvest, when it's coming out of the north, it's not going to bother nobody. So if it was to get dusty, nobody's going to be bothered by it.
And I'll just say, when I put this together, I worked with Albert, and we have in there that for 4 hoop barns. We aren't going to build 4 at this time. There's 2 that are, or there's 1 that's future, and then it shows a slot for the other 2. None of the groundwork is going to be done for those 2. He said we should come here and go for all 4 instead of having to come back 6 months from now or a year from now and try to go for another and go for another. So that's why it does show that there's 4, but right now we're planning for the main one to be built and a future second. We're going to do the groundwork for that, have it ready. So if we move forward, we're ready to go.
Would it hinder anything if we require you to push it further northeast, like 200 feet or more? Farther
Well,
away
we kind
from
of
the
Kevin, to be honest with you.
What we run into is some of the state highway right of way. When they redid Road P, the state encompassed a whole bunch of the Road P as their right of way. And also we start getting into, there's a higher, I'll say the ground increases in height the more north we go. And there's also a lot more underground as far as what the city has put in for the sewer lines in that area. Right now, where the entrance is to the scales and into the gravel staging area, I'm splitting a couple of telephone poles and some AT&T boxes. So that's where it kind of lines up. If we go more north, I'm now into more telephone poles and the roll of the land.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions?
What about the bus routes coming down there? There's 3 bus routes that go through there every day.
I'm trying to talk with the
US
Southwest Heights
We
about
got
that.
to call into John Justice.
Yeah.
We'll work with him on it.
A lot of times the buses go past at about 6:30 in the morning, so it's not when we have a lot of truck traffic. Like I say, we don't open up till 8, so 7:30.
Will you stop the truck? Will you stop the trucks from parking on the P road like you do? I mean, we park all the way in on the other side. Will you stop them from coming that way?
Well, that's
Parking on that
some of us being able to split up who's delivering so we don't have everybody going to one spot and have the congestion. So we can move deliveries around as needed to kind of eliminate some of that congestion.
You should see a marked improvement when everything's going.
Is it okay if I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So, one thing that I'm a little bit worried about is, I'd hope everybody would be ethical and use the wait station on the highway. But sometimes I know truckers kind of try and avoid those sometimes. So I'm kind of worried that maybe they would take like Blue Belt and then go up P. Is there anything as Conestoga that you guys can do to help?
Our farmers at I can't, to be real candid with you, I can't go to a farmer. I can't go to Devin and say, Devin, this is the prescribed route to my plant. If you don't use that route, I won't like it. I can't.
Well, and they do use it a lot, but it's not Conestoga.
The what?
It's not Conestoga, but the trucks do use it a lot.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm just, I'd heard that sometimes that happens, and I'm a little concerned about just the additional traffic kind of tearing up that road, and I just wasn't sure if there was maybe something that you guys could kind of figure with them. With P.
Well, we already said we would maintain that. That's part of it. That's a contingent upon it that we,
South.
whatever the county road and bridge comes back at, that we implement that plan.
Okay.
So that's already been, I think, already been discussed.
Okay. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your question, but
Yeah.
to understand the situation we're in,
Yeah.
is I can't go to farmers and say, well,
Yeah.
this is the Conestoga route, because they'll tell me to go to hell.
Yeah.
I get told
Yeah.
enough.
I guess the other thing too that I was thinking about was like, I mean, Road P is pretty long, so I wouldn't want you guys to have to take care of all that as well, because I mean it is a long road. So obviously, like, we can continue to keep having this conversation. I just wasn't sure if there was something that you guys could maybe do. Again, I understand that they're independent, so they'll do whatever they want and stuff, but
I don't know
You
if
can tell
if
farmers-
possible, all
exactly.
I don't know if possible. All they could maybe do is restrict weight on the truckers, no more than 100,000, even though that's already state law.
We don't see trucks that heavy. Yeah, most time we see them, coming out of the field, they may be 86,000 or so.
Or not.
Supposed to be.
They might be.
They might, some might push at 90, but
Not
a lot of those guys now know where they're loaded and how heavy,
Yeah.
things like that.
Any further questions?
So are we approving all 4 potential boot barns?
Yes.
With the idea that it could be true a couple of years before
Right.
those last ones get built.
But then you don't have to come back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we always enjoy coming to visit with you guys. So
But
Talking
with
to you too.
yeah, with all 4, it would be similar to your current ground bunker storage. With all 4 hoop storage, would it be similar to your current ground pile storage or more?
It would be more.
but it's covered.
Current ground piles are about 1.6 million, and these are 2 million.
So total, we'd have about 8 million down there for also the project's.
But I
totally-
think what he's asking is all 4 of these will be hoop houses, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but adding more storage south, you would still have more traffic south than north. Eventually,
Well. Yeah. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes and no. You'd be surprised what you take if we just leave that at 2.
no.
And do the other, how much that would relieve it.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, if we use the other 2 for Milo harvest usually hits,
Yeah,
That's staggered. Yeah.
late November. So it'd be when the corn harvest is just about wrapped up.
yeah.
Any further questions for the gentleman? All right. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Public comments. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this case, for or against? All right. Seeing that nobody wants to come up, are there any written communications or petitions from the public that we should be aware of?
Planning and zoning department has received none.
Okay. Does the zoning administrator wish to respond to any of the comments recently presented?
The application has been filled out in accordance with all our regulation, and all information has been provided for your consideration.
All right. Does anyone from the public wish to respond to the zoning administrator or make any final comments? Okay. Hearing no further public comments, I hereby close the public portion of the hearing. There will be no further public comments unless the planning board wishes to ask questions to clarify information. The planning board will now deliberate the request. There are 11 factors which the board must consider in order to make findings and a recommendation. Each factor will be read, and our collective opinion will be summarized for the minutes. Okay. Item 1, whether approval of the conditional use would be consistent with the intent and purpose of the regulations. This request would be consistent with the regulations as presented. Anybody want to further discuss about that? Nope.
No,
Okay.
correct.
Whether the location of the proposed use is compatible to other land uses in the surrounding neighborhood. The use is compatible as the hoop buildings and bill storage will be surrounded by agricultural. Any further discussion? Whether the proposed use places an undue burden on the existing transportation and service facilities in the area affected, and if so, whether such additional transportation and service facilities can be provided. You guys want to discuss about that?
I think
asked
there needs to
questions
be a
about that.
condition on there about the county approval on the road.
Okay. We'll add a condition where,
Agreement between.
between road and,
That'll be in the department, the staff report.
And maybe not just contained just for the year, I mean, just for harvest, but if you would maintain it year round. Just that section, not over.
I'll,
Just through harvest as well. Because you're gonna be running trucks year round.
I'll write it down. Condition between road and bridge department on maintenance on roads that will be used based on what is stated on the development plan. Okay. 4, whether the proposed use is made necessary or desirable because of change or changing conditions in the area affected. The use is desirable as it is currently ag and is surrounded by agricultural use. Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Length of time the property has remained vacant or undeveloped as zoned. The property is zoned ag agricultural district. It is not vacant. Okay. Whether the applicant's property is suitable for the proposed use. The property is surrounded by agricultural land. The location would be suitable for the proposed use. Recommendations of permanent or professional staff. Staff sees no adverse consequences by granting this conditional use request. Whether the proposed conditional use would be in conformance to and further enhance the implementation of the comprehensive plan. Approval of this conditional use application would not enhance or hinder the implementation of the comprehensive plan. Relative gain to the public health, safety, and general welfare outweighs the hardship imposed upon the applicant by denying their request. There is no relative gain to public health, safety, and welfare by denying their request. Do we agree on that? Whether the proposed conditional use, if it complies with all the conditions upon within the approval, is made contingent as authorized in Article 20 of the zoning regs, will not adversely affect the property in the area affected. There are no apparent detrimental effects to nearby parcels should the permit be approved. Okay. Such other factors as may be relevant from the facts and evidence presented in the application. There are no other factors noted at this time. So, is there a motion to either recommend approval, approval with conditions, disapproval, or to table the decision?
I'd like to maybe add a condition, or talk about it,
Okay.
for the future use on the dryer fans. If we could set a setback from the nearest occupied dwelling to 1,000 feet, I think that would still give them plenty of room, but it would have a distance in there.
1,000 feet.
They're at 1,800 now, so that's still going to give them 800 feet. Am I correct, Tom?
Unless we could agree on 60 decimals at intersection from certain time of day.
Whatever y'all think.
I mean, it's no different if you're living in Plains of Kismet when they have their fans running.
The floor plans will run.
Are they quieter than the ones in town?
Quieter than the ones in town, but they will not run year-round.
Yeah, correct.
They only run during a little bit at harvest. One thing different about us is we don't bring in wet grain and try to draw air through it and dry it down. At harvest, our maximum moisture is about 17.5. So we aren't bringing in 22% moisture grain and having to run the fans and pull that moisture out. This building also has some fans on each end, east and west end. They'll basically be pulling the draft through there during most of the time when the floor fans aren't running. Floor fans don't have to run to like on the ground piles to pull that tarp down. So this tarp is independent of the floor fan. So we don't have to have those fans running year round.
Since they're just pulling a draft, they're
They
quiet.
actually air in this one instead of pulling air out. They push air in and then fans on the end. So they're the exhaust fans, big ones are, but they're a low speed fan.
But there's about 20 fans on either side, right?
Yes.
God, I mean, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It needs to be noted.
Setback.
sorry?
Setback of 1,000 feet.
Setback or decimals, one of the two.
I think it's hard with sound.
I get it.
The wind determines a lot
Yeah.
on decimals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless we need clarifications.
What?
Unless we need clarifications.
With the prevailing winds where they are, a lot of that noise you're worried about
Yeah.
would be blown away from the houses and not
Yep.
towards the houses. I think that's important to.
Right. But if we do set a setback distance, what would you be comfortable with?
I got it, Richard. I'm not going to. You're going to have to answer that before.
Is 1,000 feet going to hinder your project?
I don't know if we're got ruler or something to measure there. I mean, I don't know if we have that measurement right now.
Yeah.
Setback is.
We just have them shut off 3 days around Christmas.
Consider, but 1,800 foot is rough, just a rough.
They're just trying to kill the bug.
Corner
Mm-hmm.
to the center of the
Watch it
pivot.
down.
So it's considered, if you look at it, it's considerable setback now.
So do you say, Nick, that there's an 18?
On the current one, but if they add the other two on the west side, that's what they're concerned about.
Okay. Okay, not the one that's here.
I'm just trying to get everything done now, and they don't have to mess with it.
Well,
would be
you know,
further away
not that I don't and appreciate what you guys are doing, but one thought on it is we're all going to be a little smarter when the first one gets built. And we certainly want to do all we can. I guess what you're hearing here from our group is we're not in a position to say whether it's hurt us or not hurt us until we get it going with it. But in terms of what that should be, I guess I'd suggest let's get one built. And we can go from there. But I did want to point out that the way the winds are, for the most part, prevailing winds is going to take that noise away from the houses. If that's your concern.
So it could be maybe 400 feet.
If you, like, for example, the exhaust fans at the elevator in Kismet, the exhaust is coming right straight out. If you curve that and shot it up into the air instead of straight out, it would move the sound up also instead of straight out.
I think the other, and that's a good point, Gary. I think the other thing to in consideration, those fans that are in Kismet and those elevators are quite old. This will be new. These will be new, latest technology that's out there.
So this is a pretty new deal, isn't it?
It's brand new. So, you know, certainly appreciate if you live in town and they're drying grain during harvest and you're across the street from the elevator, what it might sound like from that perspective. But again, technology being what it is, and I'm not saying they're soundproofed, not at all, but I can tell you they're going to be a hell of a lot quieter than the old ones were as we go forward. So with that, but great, we would look at that for sure.
Any silencing will be immensely better than just standing right at the end of the exhaust pipe,
You bet.
so to speak.
The intakes are on a ground pile that has a tarp, usually are the loudest because they're pulling air, trying to pull air out, push it out. These actually are pushing air into the building, and they have much larger fans at the end that are turning much slower. So the decibels are going to be quite a bit less on the exhaust fans because we don't have to have them in every so many feet throughout the boot barn. But just on the end of the buildings, right, up high, so it's just exhausting the air that's there. They won't be near as loud because they're bigger, turn much slower.
Well, that's to my point. Let's get it built.
As far as the setback, putting this on the spot, we have to make sure that future barns are going to be, within whatever we agree on setback, things like here.
Yeah, well, I measured this one from on the west side. You have like about 400 feet from the road P. I think 1,000 might be a little bit.
400?
Mm-hmm.
Going west,
Right, the west road.
but not into the corner. So, yeah. That's. Is there an issue with where the position of the buildings are?
No, it's just. I think what he's more concerned about is just having a setback required from occupiable buildings that are outside of this. I think,
From that corner house, I think is what I'm looking at,
yeah,
right there at that intersection.
Well, and you're going to
Pretty
be,
close.
the closest thing is going to be your hay storage, which is no noise. You've got to be over 1,000 feet to the corner of your last hoop building, I would guess. You're closer to the highway.
Yeah.
I'm not real worried about the hay storage
hmm
as far as the setback.
okay,
I'm more worried about setback
from the building.
to the buildings.
Okay,
We have a facility where there's a facility in Garden City that's being utilized with the hoop barn, and there's a ground ball right beside. I don't know, you live in Garden City.
Yes.
Has there ever been any complaints or
No.
was that
No.
one of those facilities?
Not that I'm aware of.
To be honest, the hoop barns that I've driven by, it's hard to detect any kind of sound out
We have, yeah.
when you go by. It's usually the ones that have the tarp on that are having fans that are pulling the tarp down on them. Those are considerable.
Well, if your ledger is correct and my tape measure is correct, we're 1,400 feet to that building, the closest. Be to the southwest building in the southwest corner.
Yeah, that could be right. Is it, I'm going off on all farmer knowledge, typically a pivot is 1,300 feet to the end of the sprinkler. And it's usually 1,800 feet from the very corner to the very center of the pivot. So that, if that building is on the
North half.
side, then would be more straight west pivot road, yeah, it could very well be.
And it's hard to understand where the pivot actually was because they cut that road through there and it's messed up.
Yep, 1,400 feet.
Well, I guess I will make a motion.
Sir, 1 minute.
Go ahead.
Staff had, further on in the staff report, we had 4 issues that we wanted to put in there on condition.
Uh-huh.
An agreement between Arcalen, like we talked about, for a road agreement
Right.
between the commissioners and Arcalen. We're working with the engineer to get engineered drawings on the building and everything.
Okay.
Permits. The height was mentioned earlier. Zoning regulations say in an ag zoned area, 35-foot maximum height. Now, if you go to Article 26, it does say agricultural buildings, grain elevators are exempt from the height restriction. This one's kind of in a gray area. I think it fits in there, but I would like it put in there as a condition as exceeding the 35-foot height is acceptable. And that's in the staff report. The zoning regulations have a height restriction in an ag area of 35 feet. Yet there is an exception for agricultural buildings, grain elevators, grain storage things. Technically, it's not an elevator, kind of, sort of, ag building. It's kind of in a gray area. We just like it addressed that the 35-foot limitation is waived for this structure. Is waived. Yes. It's kind of a gray area. It's kind of sort of addressed, but it isn't. We would just like to have it addressed.
Your haystack's probably going to be that tall.
Do what?
The haystack may be that tall.
That's not a structure.
Going back to setback, I guess, what distance would you feel comfortable with?
According to the drawing and everything, if it comes out right, I think 1,000 feet from the the further southwest hoop building, I guess would be the way to put it, from the nearest occupied dwelling. And if we make it 1,000, they say, I got this at 1,400, then we got another 60-foot right away of the county road and another 150 feet to the house. So we're at
Is it
16.
just the hoop building that you're
The
considering?
fans, yes.
Okay, so a scale house or anything like that?
Yeah, that's the fans. The noise is what I'm. And it's easier to do that than it is to be decimals, because that's so hard to read.
It is. How you guys feel about that?
Did you say 1,000 or 800?
1,000 to the nearest occupied dwelling.
With the scale that we have there. Sounds reasonable. We actually measure it.
My scale is 1,400.
We're good?
I guess we could always come back and our measurement.
Well, and that's down the road too. I mean, you could build 3 hoop buildings before you had to worry about it. Okay, so we got 3 conditions. Condition number 1 is 1,000-foot setback to the nearest occupiable dwelling. Condition 2, maintenance on roads that will be used shall be determined by the Commission and Road and Bridge Department as stated on the development agreement. Condition 3, allowing the building height to exceed the original required 35-foot limit. I think number 1 needs to read setback from the nearest hoop barn to occupied dwelling.
Oh. 1,000-foot setback.
1,000-foot setback from the nearest occupied dwelling for the hoop barn.
Or the hoop barn.
Rather than the property line.
Okay. All right. All right. I would like to state a motion to recommend the conditional use permit with the following conditions: a 1,000-foot setback for the hoop barn. Oh, for the hoop barn to the nearest occupiable dwelling. Condition number 2, maintenance on roads that will be used shall be determined by the Commission and Road and Bridge Department as stated on the development agreement. And condition 3, allowing the building height to exceed the original required 35-foot limitation. Does anybody would like to would like to make a motion on that recommendation?
I'll make the motion as spoken.
Got a motion by Jeff Letterback.
I'll second.
I have a second by Kaylee Ikas. Any further discussion? All in favor state by saying aye.
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 Right. Motion passes. All right. Thank you. Notice is hereby provided that landowners within 1,000 feet of the proposed conditional use that are not satisfied with the Planning Commission's recommendation have the right to file a protest petition with the Seward County Clerk within 14 days of this hearing. Should you wish to take advantage of this process, you have until 5 p.m. August 24th, 2026 to file the protest petition. If you do not have access to the services of a notary public, there are notaries located at the County Administration Building. We want to thank all of you for participating in this hearing. You are welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting if you wish. I now call for agenda number Agenda number 6, member comments.
No. And it, yep.
All right. Kelly, you have any comments?
No.
All right. Gary?
No, sir.
All right. Jeff?
No, I've talked enough.
Devin?
No comment.
All right.
Mike had brought up the issue on, I believe, the last meeting. You were handed some information regarding the CAFO, confined feeding operations.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Mr. Clausen that submitted that to our department had asked commissioners to review that. And I think he'd approached Mike to want to know if y'all had reviewed it. And if you did, was there any discussion?
I thought Albert stated that it was state statute and it would advise us not to change it.
Well, we're recommending, state statute says they fall under zoning regulations. It's up to, for conditional use.
Yeah. Are they looking to expand into a feedlot?
They think there's too many regulations on it. They'd like to expand, kind of like Eli had stated earlier. That's why they're in Meade County, because they don't want to go through a conditional use. They want to just follow state regulations, but we're still wanting a conditional use so the neighboring properties are notified and public hearing.
I haven't seen anything about it.
Mhm.
But I'm more than happy to make that CUP process be.
Well, they were just wanting to look at it and possibly remove those regulations.
That don't know what you're talking about.
Well, conditional use that if they wanted to build a feedlot,
Right.
they just did it. They wouldn't have to go through the condition, like the hearing we just had.
They're not here in person to disagree or agree.
No, but they just want all the regulations dropped regarding
We
conditional
could definitely
uses.
meet and talk about that.
And we may discuss it at some point in time. I'll talk to Albert when he's feeling better. He can contact you.
Sounds good. All right. Well, all I have to say, I appreciate everybody's questions today. They're very, very, very good questions. These are the questions we need to ask for the public, and I truly appreciate that. Well, other than that, I have no further comments. I have a motion to adjourn. I got a motion by Kaylee,
Second.
second by Devin. We're adjourned.
I got two of these. I brought one.